This is it. Thank you. Thank you for being with me for over 8 years, or 8 months, or 8 minutes. Actually, it doesn't really matter. Thank you for making this possible. Thank you for making me achieve my goal on YouTube. My goal that I have set on for like half a year ago. Like, really? I mean, obviously it's been here for longer. Obviously it's been for years, I guess, but more about that in a minute. First of all, have a look. This is it. This is the reward. It's actually a tiny plate, a silver plate. It's quite okay, you know. It's not that worthy as I've expected, to be frankly honest, but it's a very nice thing to have in hand, and even better to have it on that shelf in a second. But moreover, I want to talk about what it means to me. What it means achieving this goal is so much more than just a number on a metal plate. It's so much more than a check mark on YouTube. It's really, it does mean a lot to me. There's a lot I need to explain. There's a lot I need to give context on to why this is so important to me, and why this video is actually very hard to make for me. Now, for the most part of my YouTube career, if I may say so, it's not been really a career. It's not been anything that I've set a focus on to achieve anything. It's not been anything that I woke up to like I want to do that. I slipped into that, okay? And if you're on this channel and you have no idea how I got into YouTube, stick with me. I'll talk about that in a second. But again, thank you, every single one of you sitting in front of your phone, your computer, your tablet, your console, your whatever. Thank you for watching my content. Thank you for sharing it with your families. Thank you for sharing it with your friends. Thank you for sharing it with random people on the internet that you've not really known in real life, but just from forums, from Discords, from my comment section, from my live streams. I don't know. Just thank you. Thank you a lot. Let's put that thing on its place, at least for now. I have no idea where it will be for the future. Maybe it's gonna find a new place, maybe it's gonna find a frame, I don't know. But for now, it's gonna get there on that shelf. Right, after elf on a shelf, we've got a metal plate on my shelf. Well, I don't have a rhyme for that. Now, let me just give you a bit of a story to how my YouTube journey began. It's been now over 8 years ago. It's been early 2016 when I basically sat at home because I had some kind of a disease. I don't know what exactly it was, but at the end of the day, I had a kind of a issue here down there on my throat. There was like something very heavily infected, and there was like a bit of a bulb, and that bulb didn't want to go away, so it had to be cut off. And I've got a scar. Can't show you. Can I show you? Somewhere over here there was a scar. Can't really tell too much anymore these days. I took good care of it, but that was the moment I sat at home being very healthy. And being in Germany in 2016, there has not been anything like work from home or so. That's not been a thing. So being sick at home, in fact, I wasn't allowed to move. I had like a little bit of it almost was like something like a little pipe here to have that like fluid come off of it. So I wasn't allowed to move that much. And eventually I sat down on my computer and I played some Minecraft and stuff like that. And at this time I even wanted to sell my computer. That was really at the end of my youth, I would say, where we've been used to playing with friends online, and you know, we've been meeting to play some Battlefield or Counter-Strike, or later on maybe some strategy games or whatnot. But like, as everyone has, you know, started their lives and went to university or started to marry actually, like it was really not that much used anymore. But in these days it was very rainy outside, my wife was working, everyone else was working apparently, and I sat at home and I had nothing to do. So my brother was actually the one to come to me and was like, hey, there's that new game announced, like Planet Coaster. You don't know what that is? Because we were looking at Roller Coaster Tycoon, well, basically 4, or back in the day, Roller Coaster Tycoon World, and the first trailer looked promising and, you know, didn't have an alpha or anything like that. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Planet Coaster emerged, and the alpha stage just began these days. And so that was when I was starting to build. And my brother and I, we got the early access version together, so we shared the game because we didn't want to pay both games before knowing if it's any good. So I went down there and started playing. And what I did is first of all, I built a Star Destroyer, which came very surprising for even the devs. And long story short, my brother put a photo of the Star Destroyer into a Facebook group, which I didn't even was in, and frankly, a community manager back in the day of Frontier did see that, and they were asking like, hey, is that made in our game? Was that? And they were like, yeah, it's my brother was like, yeah, but what's my brother? So he connected me, and I was like, yeah, that's that. And they were like, okay, can you please explain, because we've got no idea how the heck you did that. And I was like, well, okay, let's do that. And I recorded a video. I recorded a video of how I built this and put this, well, on YouTube. Why did I put it on YouTube in the first place? It's relatively simple because, 2016, there wasn't anything like WeTransfer or Google Drive, or I don't even know, maybe there was Google Drive and I wasn't even aware of it. However, I uploaded that to a channel that I have created years ago because of a weird random app idea I had. And I was like, yeah, it's certainly gonna blow and I'm gonna get millionaire by that, a billionaire by that. And I just put that out there, and I need to secure all the channels. And so basically Rudi Rennkamel was an app idea, and I secured all the channels. And the only reason I uploaded that on Rudi Rennkamel was that I didn't want to upload this video to Frontier on a private channel, because if I remember correctly, in 2016, I may be mistaken, but you couldn't set videos to private and send this to someone. You could set this to private, obviously, but not unlisted. So I needed to either publish it or not. And I didn't have a file transfer to upload something like that. So what I did at the end of the day is I uploaded that video, and my voiceover was meant to explain what I was doing. And so I uploaded that to YouTube without actually planning to do a YouTube career or anything like that. So I uploaded that video. This blew kind of out of nowhere. I sent this to Frontier, but then again it was on YouTube, and a couple of days later it had over 10,000 views. Unfortunately, I needed to take it down. Building a Star Destroyer Disney, you can guess. Some of the old videos are online, and it's a bit of a sad thing, because by now my very first YouTube video, at least the one you find on the channel, is a speed paint of the Star Wars The Force Awakens picture. I may say it's not that good though, but I left it there. It wasn't the first one though. The first one was that Star Destroyer build, but I needed to take that down. So yeah, it's kind of this is how it all started, and one word gave the other, and then very short to Gamescom 2016, Frontier asked me if I may join them on the fair, like on the trade. And this is where I met Sylv and the lay designer, and that was where it all started. And since then I made YouTube videos, but for the longest part I never made that with an intention. The big intention was fun. Like I enjoyed building, I enjoyed creating, and for the most part I enjoyed you. Well, that sounds weird, doesn't it? No, I enjoyed the community. I enjoyed this passionate group of people from all across the globe without any, well, anything like you don't know each other like in person. You don't have a set image or anything in your head. It's like you come together because you share a passion, and anything else matters. It doesn't matter where you're from, how you speak, how you look, what your other kind of interests are. The one thing that unites us all was like the passion about these type of games, and this is what I grew to love so much. And apparently, and that was a very good side effect without which I couldn't have done it, learning so much about social media and the communities and gaming helped me tremendously in my actual job. So for those of you who don't know, and a huge amount of people still believe this is my main job, it's not. Not at all. I've got a full-time job. I went to university. I have a master's degree, and I'm working full-time. Like never did anything else. And in particular, I'm working in marketing. I'm a director for innovations and technology kind of stuff, so I'm looking a lot into like these type of AI topics, marketing strategies, online strategies. But like apparently also a lot of social media is involved, and that is the main reason why I am able to do all of that. Like this is the whole reason why I'm able to do both, because my job and all my colleagues and my supervisor, they are all like, hey, that's a great asset, so keep doing that, because this knowledge can be translated over. So yeah, that's that. And obviously, as you all know by now, I've got a wonderful wife, I've got a wonderful little daughter, she's turning 4 very soon, and I've got a little baby boy, he just turned 1 month. So there's a lot going on in my life as well, and this is why all of this context I just gave you. And in this video, I don't even care about any hook or anything to make people watch the video. If you like me and if you subscribe to the channel because of me, you may watch the video. And this is why I wanted to give you all that transparency and the context and why all that happened. And I'm very grateful. Now, this is the part where I'm getting emotional because I never thought I would reach this. For the longest part, as I said, it was merely a hobby. And it turned out to be a little bit more than that around the time of 2018, when me and my wife, we went on honeymoon, and that I was this close. I was this close to saying goodbye to YouTube. Like, I was really like about to say, well, that's been a fun time, you know, that's it, let's call it a day, scrap it, you know, it's been fun. Until this day, I didn't even earn much with YouTube. Like, the money that came out of YouTube was really like, was fun to have. Like, you could get a graphics card maybe a year, but that's about that. That was back then, not today, okay? You can't, it's not like how it is today. No, I'm just joking, but it wasn't about the money or anything for a very, very, very long time. Because that was always just like getting something next to it was fine, but not the main reason. And so I ended up thinking about this, do I really need this? Because it obviously is a lot of time. I invest a lot of time into making YouTube videos and this type of content. And some people always think like, you know, you're just gaming and blah, 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 putting it in, render it, send it out. But that's not how it works. But this video is really not about this. I'm so grateful to have achieved all of this, next to all of these things that I said, but also, in fact, because I'm doing that in a language that's not my first language. English is, funnily enough, I've been very poor in English in the school times, and it only got better to the end of school time. And thanks to YouTube, I was able to build up my English skills, and I've been really happy and thankful to be able to doing that, because I think my English skill now is very fine. It's okay. It's decent enough to do that. But then again, so many people ask me, why do I not do this in my native language? Well, you've heard it, because I never intended to make YouTube in the first place. It was never a intentional decision to make English content to reach more people. To be honest, in the niche I'm in, it is actually more stupid to do it in English than in German. Like, the German niche is very tiny and there's a huge space to fill in, so it would really be clever to make it in German, to be honest, because there's a lot more potential compared to a bit of a more competitive environment in obviously the whole world. However, I grew a community of passionate people from all across the globe, of which the majority definitely does not speak German and doesn't even understand German. So it was just obvious that I was continuing. Anyways, back to 2018. When we were traveling to Hawaii for a honeymoon, I didn't even prepare that many videos. I basically just left it where it was and said goodbye for a couple of weeks, and the marriage and stuff like that was wonderful time. But even during this wonderful time, where obviously the focus has been on my wife and me, I just felt that I was missing YouTube. Like, not YouTube per se as a platform. I was missing creating content and getting into touch with passionate people, because like, and this is also partially a reason why this all works so good. My wife has none about it. Like, she's really like, what the heck you're doing? I don't care. I support you, but whatever you're doing, I don't understand. I will never understand. You do you. I'm happy. It's fine. So, you know, I think this is a big part why it's working. It's like we really play those two roles, and it's just all good. But yeah, this is where I noticed, okay, and this is where I changed a lot, you know. This is where I scrapped all my old projects. I kind of killed, as I said back then, I killed my babies. I killed all the projects that were running on my channel. I was all cluttered and no strategy and whatnot. And I came up with Isla Napali, which was my first big project that I had an idea to grow the channel and to grow the community with, and to focus this a little bit more. And it worked. And it worked for over a year until Planet Zoo came out, and this is where everything just blew out of nowhere. My live stream from the Gamescom 2019, which remains to be the best Gamescom ever, where I've met a lot of wonderful people, a lot of creators I always wanted to meet, and a lot of creators I didn't even know I wanted to meet because I didn't know them in the first place. It was a wonderful time. Obviously a year before the pandemic, so it's a bit unfortunate that 2020 didn't happen, because potentially it would have become an even better one, but then everything changes. However, 2019 was the moment where I had to accept that I was going for something. And this something was like getting bigger on YouTube. But back in the day when I started with Planet Zoo, I was at about 18 to 19,000 subscribers. I can't really remember. I think I think I wasn't actually above 20,000 or so. And from there, I went up until mid 30,000, somewhere 35, 36,000. So far away from getting to the 100K, but that was the time where Sylv already had the 100K. Delay Designer was close to 100K just at the end of the launch phase of, of this wonderful game, Planet Zoo. And I had a fun story because like this is an inside joke that's keep going. I have a wonderful timing. And by that I mean a shit timing. Whenever there was a big game launch and whatever, I was on holidays. Like the big launch of Planet Coaster, I was missing. I was invited to London, I was invited there. Frontier even tried to get me there from Abu Dhabi, was it? Abu Dhabi or something? So the story was I was going for Thailand. I had booked this Thailand holiday already before I knew that I was doing YouTube, like over a year before. And so I was talking to them. They wanted to get me there, but the evening of the launch party was actually the evening we returned from Thailand. I was like, hell, I'm not gonna make this. Like they were even like, hey, we fly you in from there and there. So that was fun. I was invited, but I couldn't. And also the week after, I got terribly sick. So for like 3 weeks or so after the launch of Planet Coaster, I wasn't able to do real videos. The only thing I had was some pre-recorded stuff from the beta. So I missed out on that. That was a big one. That's where I missed the train. Like all the other creators blew up with Planet Coaster, and I was like, who the heck is that? So I was like getting back after that. And as I said, back in the day, I didn't care for that. Like, it's like something that I got aware of later on. And with Planet Zoo, it was kind of similar. Even though I made the launch, then afterwards there was a lot of problems I had with like holidays and blah blah blah. And since then, whenever there's a big update, you can be sure I am on holidays. So whenever you want to know when there is a big release, just ask me when my holidays are, so we all know. The first time ever that I wasn't having any holidays was with Planet Coaster 2 now, and we all know how that ended. So to get this all together, see, you have to imagine 100,000 when I was starting YouTube was a huge number. It was mega big, okay? 100K was almost like opening all doors. By now, 100K, but the industry standards is a joke. It's nothing, okay? And that sounds terribly ungrateful and weird, but like I'm working in the industry. 100K in the terms of a creator nowadays is nothing. You reached out on TikTok with 2 dancing videos. You reached out on Instagram with like 2 fitness videos. You reached out on YouTube with a bunch of shorts. You reached out, well, Twitch may be different though, but you get the idea. However, for me personally, it's important how I got here. And then I'm very speechless because I at some point, and that was somewhere around 2022, I was certain that I will never reach it. My channel completely idled out. There was basically no growth at all, and this is mainly because I didn't want to go for the trend that YouTube was following. I didn't want to go to this like retention cutting, quicker videos, quicker narrated videos. The type of content I want to do is exactly the one you know on my channel. I want to do the videos of my creations. I don't want to think too much about making the videos in a way that like there's a huge engagement boost every 2 minutes or whatever. I just don't want to. It's like I feel like scrapped into a limitation, into a frame that I don't want to, because this is my outlet. This is my creative outlet where I want to do stuff. As it's not my main focus, I have the freedom to do that. Well, kind of, because YouTube became a side hustle that at this point, at least a little bit of it I do need for the rest of my sparring. So like, it's not like that I would survive without YouTube anymore, to be completely honest. It's not like that I would, it's enough now on YouTube to be safe. But because it all grows so much and takes so much time, obviously it takes a part in my life and pays bills. So that's just natural, but that's just the second part of it. For me personally, it was always like, I know I could have grown a lot more if I would have done things more correctly, if you will. And by correctly, I mean correctly in the eyes of the industry and of the platform. And basically trying to make more of what the platform wants from me versus what I want to do. And this is where I lost a lot of the train, you know. But I'm so proud that I reached this goal, this very goal. I reached this without changing myself, without doing anything that either the platform or, I don't know, partners or game providers or sponsors wanted. Of course I had sponsorships, you know, of course I did get keys, of course there was money involved, but I never changed my approach. And for those of you watching this video till this point in time, either you're new and you like me, hey, thank you, and welcome, by the way, or for those of you, and I know this video is not gonna have that many views anyways, so for those of you watching, you are the core, you are the reason why this all happens. This is why this video is for you, for every single one of you, for you supporting this channel. It doesn't even matter if you're a member, if you're a follower, if you're a subscriber, if you're here for a minute or a year or almost 10, I don't know. It's really because I personally wanted to do this stuff the way I wanted it to do, and reaching this goal with this attitude and not with that much focus as it should have, being a proper creator, it just makes me incredibly proud, guys. I had a hard time also because I know for a fact, I know many people don't believe me, or I spoke to YouTube a lot of times. I had meetings with YouTube. I spoke to YouTube at their headquarters in Berlin when I was there, like during my university times. You know, when you reach a certain amount of subscribers, you're allowed to go to YouTube studios. I did this once just for checking out, and I talked to some of the support guys from YouTube, and they were looking at my channel. And there are a couple of videos on my channel that had all the checkboxes to blow up. Every single checkbox was done. Every single thing was great, and they stalled. They just out of nowhere hit a wall. And some of them was really super frustrating because I spent so much work and so much time in it. And I'm a person, I'm very passionate about these projects. And I get sad. I really get sad when there's one specific project I want to mention that was for me horrific. That was really horrendous. And that was a really long time I needed to recover from that. I did this camel stories videos on Planet Zoo where I made this kind of comic narration, and I built scenes for every single comic strip, and then I cut them together as a comic, and I made like a fake Marvel intro. That took me about 400 hours in total, setting up the stories, setting up the scenes, making the correct thing. I even get a level from the lady designer that she gave me to have a bit of a different background. Like 400 hours plus, and the video by now, it doesn't even have like 5,000 views, I guess. And then there are videos where like, oh my god, there's something new, let's quickly click a video together because I'm so excited, and this one has like a 100,000 views. So YouTube isn't fair. YouTube isn't predictable. Well, it is for the most part, but not always. And YouTube is ever so much changing. It's changing quicker than ever, and it's focusing more than ever on short content, on quick content, on the type of content I really don't like. The big win, the big crazy run of TikTok changing the entire industry was something I saw coming a long time ago. And if you need proof, just ask the lady designer. I told her many years ago, and actually, lady's always right. That's a running gag in our whole community, and she is always right. And this is the one single thing where she wasn't. And I'm very sad she wasn't. I wish she was right in this one. But the TikTokification, as I want to call it, of the entire content creation world hit me hard. This is another one of these sad moments where, you know, I had a hard time dealing with it. At some point 2 years ago, I knew to be successful, I would have shifted everything into short content first. I would have shifted to make my content shorts first, mobile first. But again, that's not what I wanted. So I ignored that. I totally ignored that. And it wasn't until the beginning of last year where YouTube actually started to reward longer form content out of nowhere. And this is where I made this Planet Zoo all-in-one tutorial, which for whatever reason completely blew. I'm super happy. It seems like I made a lot of people happy, and I made a lot of people join the channel for that reason. And maybe some of those people who joined on that video watch this video right now, and I'm just like, this is so great. This is exactly what I was working for all these years. So I don't see this particular video blowing up. I see my idea of doing content blowing up, and this is what makes me so freaking happy. Look, 100,000 subscribers. As I said earlier, in the context of the industry, unfortunately, that's still tiny. I'm no one. Okay, I'm a tiny creator. I've just like it's tiny say in that tiny niche of the tiniest of the corners of the internet, and then I tried to fit all these people in a stadium. And then I noticed that there isn't even a stadium in Germany that would allow me to invite all of you. There is only one stadium in the whole of Europe, as far as I know, that would actually two, that would allow me to have you all with me. That is nuts. If you completely ignore the world out there, all the content creators being millions and bajillions, and I don't know, the TikTok content creators doing whatever pranks and having 2 million subscribers or followers, I should say, I say it the way I see it, they are not worth even a fraction of you guys. Not even a fraction. You know, this is the so-called doom scrolling content. It's like you don't have a connection to your creator. You may admire the creator, you may follow them for what they do, but do you admire the content really? Do you really admire the person? I don't know. If you do, you may do, but what I wanted to grow, and this is what makes me so incredibly proud again, I grew a community of over 100,000 people following this weird stuff I'm doing, following my weird ideas. Like, see what we did. Like, there's a mode in Planet Zoo named after me, not named after me, but done because I kind of invented that diorama mode, even though I didn't invent dioramas have been a thing for long, but because I did them and the whole community followed and other creators followed, that was a whole trend I started, and I'll have that memory forever. I'll have that forever, and all the memories with the whole team. And I need to mention a couple of people because they mean a lot to me in the context of what has happened. And to begin with, that needs to be Edward Lewis, who's been a community manager at Frontier at the time, has been the first person ever of a gaming studio I talked to, and that was over Skype. But was it Skype? I think it was Skype actually. That was when Skype still was that kind of online platform to talk, when there was a pandemic where they should have become the world monopolist in that region. They failed for whatever reason, but we had that on this. And I remember Ed chilling there and playing on his guitar, and I was like very that nervous little person, and I was 26 at that day, and Ed was like, hey, that's the best age, remember this, 26, like I'm turning 35 in a week, which 2 weeks actually, but crazy, crazy to think of. That was my first ever contact, and he's been very kind, he's been very inviting, he told me what to do on the fair, and he's been around. And then obviously Bo Maurici, she joined very short before the Gamescom was launched. Then she was the new community manager at Frontier, and I think I don't say too much if I say she was very influential. And then there was also Zach. He's been back in the day lead community manager, and then later on he was head of production at Frontier. And Zach Antonacci, a wonderful person. I still have contact to him every now and then. He's like, unfortunately, all of these wonderful people work somewhere else now, which is a pain. But yeah, it was always great to meeting these people. And back in the day, I got to know Rich, who's still working at Frontier now, lead designer for Planet Coaster 2. Adam and Matthew Florence, who's the lead audio designer at Frontier by now. I think he's been a senior audio specialist back in the day. Again, wonderful people. And obviously following along was like Shantae, as a community manager. We have Dale, not to forget about Dale. Dale at the beginning was one of the very first one. One day Sylv told him that the coaster builder was utter crap, and Dale was the one who needed to tell that the devs. Fun stories back in the day, and all the other people, specifically, I can't name all of them, but specifically every single one who's been with us at the Efteling meetups. At the beginning, the first years, we all came together once a year at the Efteling in the Netherlands, or Efteling as it calls by now, to have a meetup, and then like 50, 60, 70 crazy people about theme parks went into that theme park. We got backstage, and it just so freaking good. I enjoyed every single moment of that and can't wait what's coming. But for me personally, a heavy weight is lifted off my shoulders now. All of this led to this one point, and for me personally, it's a personal achievement. It's a personal moment, a realization that even with me ignoring most of the trends intentionally, even with me trying to stick to the content I like to do, I was able to get there. And again, ignoring where the industry is right now. 100,000 people. Just imagine this number of people in front of you. Yeah, what shall I say other than thank you. Thank you again. Thank you for making this possible. Thank you for being on this channel for however long you are here. It doesn't matter. Thank you for hitting that subscribe button. Thank you for clicking on a video of mine in the first place. And if you want to do me a favor, please let me know. There's just one task for you in the comments, okay? Tell me what was the video or what was the reason you found me. How have you come here? Why are you watching this video of a random guy calling himself Camel in this room talking about 100,000 actual people watching this stuff? Why? Please let me know. I want to understand, okay? But I'm just happy. I'm just thankful. I'm more than thankful to every single one of you. And I could say thank you for 1,000,000 times, but I'll leave it with on to the next one, on to the next years of doing weird, crazy stuff. And you can be assured, I'm not following the rabbit down the trend hole or whatever. We are doing fun stuff. We are doing whatever I feel like we should be doing. That might be crap at some point. That might be great at others. But that's what you're here for. That's what you're subscribed for. That's why you are on this plate. You know, every single one of you. Thank you. And yeah, have a wonderful new year. Have a wonderful time next year. I see you next year. This is the last bit of mine of 2024. Thank you so much and goodbye.